Folks, we have got to talk about Donald Trump and the Saudi prince because this has to be the damnedest thing that I've ever seen. As someone who lived through the Bush years, I can't believe that the Republican Party has lost its way this bad. Actually, I can because I never really had any faith in them. It's just that I held out this one little grain of hope that maybe, just maybe, they meant the things they said, because back then they were all against radical Islamic terror. And if you even so much as sat down with anybody or even thought about talking to them, you would get accused of palling around with the terrorists. You remember that? Remember when Obama came in and every time he even spoke with anyone, Fox News was yelling, he's palling around with the terrorists? Well, what in the hell would Fox News call this next clip of Donald Trump palling around with a terrorist?
I'm very proud of the job he's done. What he's done is incredible in terms of human rights and everything else. And he's the crown prince, the future king, and I just want to pay my greatest respect to your father, the king, who is an amazing man. I met him early on. He greeted me at the airport at an age that was pretty high up there, and it was about 117 degrees, and he was standing on the red carpet as I came out of the plane, and he's amazing. And when I met his brilliant son, it was at the Oval Office. Shortly thereafter, you came in representing the country, and I called the father. I said, this guy is fantastic. And I don't know if that helped you or hurt you, but obviously it couldn't have hurt too much, because here you are, right?
Yeah, that's not just palling around with the terrorists. That's absolutely bowing down and kissing their ass. I can't believe that we live in a world where an American president would sit next to that Saudi prince and say that he had done great things for human rights. But it gets worse, folks. You wouldn't think that it could, but it absolutely does. Because in this next clip, an ABC reporter steps forward and tries to ask a question about the journalist that was murdered. And watch how quick Donald Trump goes to bat for the prince.
Is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the worst in the business. But I'll answer your question.
Thank you.
I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
Just you ask, Mr. President.
So we saw Donald Trump slap the Epstein survivors in the face when he called it all a Democratic hoax, and now you can say that he slapped the families of 9/11 right dead in the face, and all of Americans really, when he sits down and goes to bat for that guy. Donald Trump goes to bat for that. Did you see how fast he jumped in to go, ooh, fake news, oh, you're the worst, oh, you're the absolute worst. And then, oh, that was a guy that not a whole lot of people liked. He was controversial, and hey, things happen, but he had nothing to do with it. He literally just sat there and went to bat for a murderer. And MAGA will be perfectly okay with it. They'll just sit there and find a way to spin this. That's why that I never take them for anything they say to be serious. How can you? How can you take any stance they say serious? And this is another reason why that I'm not big on debating these people, because they have no consistency whatsoever. It's just one move after the other, from one hoop to the next, with no shame whatsoever. They'll sit there, and when they can use the word palling around with the terrorists, they'll use it. And then when Donald Trump kisses the ass of one, they just roll with it. How do you debate somebody like that has no character and no backbone and no consistency whatsoever? But Donald Trump's getting really good at this fake news thing. He's learned that that's all he has to do, who are you with, and then call it fake news. And that's what happens next when this person asks us the question that we've all been asking, which is, why don't you just go ahead and release the files yourself?
that pretty good?
Mr.
I don't know
President,
if that's right, but it's pretty
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
You know, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. They're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein files is, I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did. Andrew Weissman, I hear. All these guys were friends of his. You don't even talk about those people. You just keep going on the Epstein files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax to try and get me not to be able to talk about the $21 trillion that I talked about today. It's a hoax. Now, I just got a little report, and I put it in my pocket, of all the money that he's given to Democrats. He gave me none, zero, no money to me. But he gave money to Democrats. And people are wise to your hoax. And ABC's, your company, your crappy company, is one of the perpetrators. And I'll tell you something.
So why not just sign it now?
I think the license should be taken away from ABC because your news is so fake and it's so wrong. And we have a great commissioner, the chairman, who should look at that because I think when you come in and when you're 97% negative to Trump, and then Trump wins the election in a landslide, that means obviously your news is not credible, and you're not credible as a reporter. So I've answered your question. You should go and look at the Democrats who received money from Epstein, who spent their time. Larry Summers was with him all the time. That creep of the fund guy was with.
It's not so much the question, it's the tone. No, it was the question. The question is what got under his skin because he realizes, hey, all I have to do is just tell the DOJ to release the files, and they could, and we wouldn't be in this mess. But I have to turn this into political theater, and I have to make this about me, and I have to make this about a win for my party and a win for myself. And that's what everything is with Donald Trump. So he'll sit back and he'll take jets from Qatar and MAGA will go silent. He'll sit back and have a terrorist like that in the White House, and they will sit there and be buddy-buddy, and he will bow and kiss his ass. And the ones that used to accuse us of palling around with the terrorists will go absolutely silent on all of it. But that truly was one of the most despicable exchanges that I've ever seen. And just when I think Donald Trump cannot embarrass us on the world stage more, just when I think that he can't humiliate people and slap people in the face more, he always can. And I'm really not trying to bring down the room, folks. I'm honestly not. I try to find a way. I always do try to find a positive way to say, hey, you know, we're going to make it, folks. We're on the right side of history. I say that in so many of my videos. But it's just very discouraging and disgusting to see Donald Trump kiss someone's ass like that. And we're just supposed to sit back and roll with it and not call it out. There's no way. There's no way. And so I know that you all don't sit back and let these things roll off you either. You're calling it out. You're sitting there pointing at the screen the same way I am going, what in the hell is this? How far has the country fallen? But I just will never take anyone in the MAGA world at their word for anything. Whatever belief they have today, I know that it can change the minute Donald Trump decides to change it. And I've seen it happen so many times. That's why I just see no point. And I say all the time, you know, I wrote in a Substack, you know, you can't save everybody. And yes, I do write on Substack, by the way. I really enjoy it, but you can't save everybody. There's no way. So we have to be there for each other, be there to lift each other up. But you can't reason with people like this. You can't reason with people that accused Barack Obama of palling around with the terrorists, but thinks that's cool. You can't. There's no reasoning with someone like that because they have denounced all reason. And it's just really sad to see. So we'll keep calling it out. But that truly was just a dark thing to watch for me. It really was. I always think back on my grandfathers, who were both Republicans. And I said to myself, there's no way they would have rolled with this. But then I followed up by saying if they had rolled with it, I still would have disagreed with them because, tradition ain't nothing but a dead man's baggage. And so I don't believe in carrying a lot of that stuff around. But I just would really hope that if my grandfathers was here today, they'd be sitting here saying, what in the hell happened? I know this much. I know that if they could just come back from the grave for a second, I set them down beside me and I said, hey, Pap, look at this. This is an American president. And I'm not going to tell you which party they belong to, but this is an American president kissing the ass of a terrorist. What do you got to say about that, Pap? Oh, you would hear GD and the F word used in ways you had never heard before.